Have you ever wondered if a simple shift in your routine could profoundly change your life? We often think that personal transformation requires grand gestures or months of effort, but sometimes it's the small habits that yield the biggest rewards. In my journey, I discovered 5 habits that, when practiced consistently over just 1 week, reshaped my perspective, renewed my energy, and brought a sense of inner peace I hadn't thought possible. These habits aren't groundbreaking, nor are they hidden secrets of success. Instead, they are grounded in simplicity and the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, teaching us to live with intention and mindfulness. The surprising part? The impact wasn't superficial. These habits taught me to look deeper, to see where my actions align with my goals and values, and where I'd been caught in the cycle of distraction and reactivity. By observing these small changes through the lens of Stoicism, I learned what it means to live deliberately and with purpose. Each habit is a pathway to greater clarity, strength, and resilience. Curious to know what these 5 habits are and why they work so well? Stay with me until the end. The last habit in particular may surprise you with its simplicity, yet profound impact. 1. Limiting screen time, reclaiming time and attention. How often do we reach for distraction when discomfort arises? What if we could reclaim those moments and channel them towards something meaningful? In today's digital world, screens have become our constant companions, yet this convenience comes at a cost. We often find ourselves glued to devices, scrolling endlessly, checking notifications, or passively watching videos. It's so easy to lose hours this way, but how does it affect us? How does it align with the Stoic pursuit of self-mastery and intentional living? Setting a boundary with screen time was challenging at first, as screens had been my default filler for spare moments. However, once I committed to a limit, an hour each day outside of work-related tasks, the impact was immediate. Suddenly, hours that had previously vanished into digital consumption were mine again. What would you do if you could reclaim an hour or more each day? Would you read, learn a skill, or spend it with loved ones? For me, this newfound time rekindled interests I hadn't pursued in ages, like sketching, reading, and even cooking new recipes. One of the most profound changes came when I replaced my typical post-dinner screen time with a quiet walk in the park. Free from digital stimulation, my mind felt calmer, more focused. I noticed the beauty around me, the rustling leaves, the way the sunset colored the sky, the sounds of life. This wasn't merely a walk, it was a practice in presence, a way to engage fully with the moment, as Stoicism often encourages. Another powerful benefit came at bedtime. Previously, I would take my phone with me, scrolling through social media until I felt drowsy. But this habit often left me feeling wired, restless, and unsatisfied with my sleep. By removing screens from my nighttime routine, I found myself settling into a deeper, more restorative sleep. I replaced my phone with a book, reflecting on my day, or meditating quietly. It's remarkable how something as simple as setting aside screens before bed can transform the quality of your sleep, and in turn, your overall well-being. Limiting screen time also brought an unexpected benefit: mental clarity. By reducing my exposure to the endless noise of online opinions, advertisements, and comparisons, I found myself less anxious, more present, and able to focus on the task at hand. The Stoic practice of avoiding unnecessary distraction felt tangible in this simple shift. Life seemed less about what others were doing and more about what I was experiencing. One day, I decided to spend an entire afternoon at a local cafe with only a notebook and pen. I wrote down my thoughts, planned some goals, and sketched a bit. This wasn't a grand act, but it was free from digital interruptions, offering a clarity that screens rarely afford. Without the barrage of digital distractions, I could see life's moments with greater sharpness, appreciating the value of undivided attention. This exercise in reclaiming time and attention was just the beginning. If limiting screen time helped me regain hours in my day, the next habit, waking up early, allowed me to truly make the most of those hours, cultivating a productive, peaceful start to each morning. 2. Waking up early, embracing the quiet hours. What if the first hour of your day could set the tone for the rest of it? How much power lies in the way we choose to start our mornings? Waking up early had never come naturally to me. My bed was a sanctuary, and mornings were typically rushed and chaotic. Yet, one of the first principles of Stoicism is to live with purpose, to approach each day as an opportunity to cultivate virtue and awareness. I realized that my chaotic mornings were an obstacle to this goal. So, I committed to setting my alarm for 5 a.m. each day. At first, it was a struggle. The cold mornings made it easy to reach for the snooze button, and I often found myself asking, is this really worth it? But after a few days, something shifted. I began to appreciate the tranquility of those early hours. The world felt still, untouched by the usual noise, as if it were offering me a clean slate to write my day upon. With these quiet hours came an opportunity to develop a mindful morning routine. I began with light stretches and a short jog around my neighborhood. This wasn't intense exercise, but it was a way to wake up my body, connecting with the simplicity of movement. Following the principles of Stoicism, I saw this act as a form of physical discipline, a reminder of my own strength and ability to meet the day's challenges. Afterward, I spent a few moments in meditation. In this space of quiet, I would set my intentions for the day, reflecting on how I wanted to approach my tasks, interactions, and goals. These moments of mindfulness were invaluable, allowing me to center myself before stepping into the day. When you start your day with clarity, how much better equipped are you to face its demands? One morning, as I sat with a warm cup of tea, I witnessed the sunrise from my balcony. There was something profoundly humbling about watching the world come alive, the way the colors spread across the sky and the city began to stir. That sunrise became a moment of gratitude, a reminder that each day is a gift, an opportunity for growth and connection. It brought to mind a fundamental teaching of Stoicism, to value the present moment, to find beauty in the here and now. By waking up early, I discovered not only more time in my day, but also a way to frame my thoughts and actions with intentionality. Mornings were no longer about rushing and reacting, but about setting the foundation for the hours to come. I felt more organized, less stressed, and in control. The shift to early mornings taught me a simple yet powerful lesson. The way we begin our day matters. It's not merely about having more hours, but about dedicating those hours to reflection, discipline, and purpose. If you've ever thought about waking up earlier, I encourage you to try it, even if it's just 15 minutes before your usual time. Use those moments to connect with yourself, to breathe, to set intentions. Waking up early laid the groundwork for a balanced, productive day. But this newfound time also allowed me to rediscover a practice that brought even more clarity and self-awareness: mindful eating. If we approach our mornings with intention, why not our meals? 3. Mindful eating, nourishing the body with awareness. How often do we truly taste our food, savor each bite, and recognize the nourishment it provides? Could our approach to eating reveal something deeper about our approach to life? Food is sustenance, but it's also an experience, a moment to pause, reconnect, and appreciate the resources that nourish us. Yet, like many, I had fallen into the habit of rushed meals eaten in front of screens or while multitasking. Rarely did I pause to think about the flavors, the textures, or even the feeling of fullness. But mindful eating, rooted in the principles of Stoicism, offered a way to bring a deeper awareness to this essential part of daily life. When I committed to practicing mindful eating for a week, I set aside any distractions during meals. I cleared my table, put away my phone, and approached each meal as an opportunity to be present. How many of us eat mindlessly, letting the food pass unnoticed, simply another task to complete? Mindful eating transformed these moments, turning them into quiet rituals of gratitude and connection. The first meal I ate mindfully was breakfast, oatmeal with honey, nuts, and fruit. Normally, I would have eaten it quickly, barely noticing the flavors. But this time, I took a few deep breaths before eating, bringing myself fully into the present. Each bite was an experience, a blend of creamy oats, the crunch of nuts, and the sweetness of honey. Foods I had eaten countless times suddenly became vibrant, layered with flavors I hadn't truly appreciated before. This simple act of tasting brought a new level of enjoyment and satisfaction to my meals. By eating slowly, I found myself more attuned to my body's hunger and fullness cues. How often do we eat past fullness simply because we're distracted? With mindful eating, I learned to recognize when I was satisfied, naturally eating less but feeling more content. Another benefit of mindful eating was an increased awareness of how different foods made me feel. Heavier, processed foods left me feeling sluggish, while fresh, whole foods provided a lightness and clarity. This wasn't about restriction or judgment. Rather, it was about tuning in to my body's natural responses. The wisdom of Stoicism reminds us to act in harmony with nature, to listen to what our bodies and minds need. By eating mindfully, I could make choices that aligned with how I wanted to feel, energized, clear-headed, and at peace. One evening, I found myself craving something sweet. Normally, I would have gone straight to dessert, but by pausing, I asked myself if I was truly hungry or if I was seeking comfort after a long day. I realized that I wasn't hungry at all. I was looking for relaxation. Instead, I made a cup of herbal tea, savoring its warmth and the subtle flavors, which provided the calm I sought without the need for unnecessary indulgence. Mindful eating also brought awareness to the emotional relationship I had with food. Eating wasn't always about hunger. Sometimes, it was a response to stress, boredom, or even celebration. Stoicism teaches us to recognize our impulses without becoming enslaved to them, and mindful eating helped me do just that. When I felt the urge to snack mindlessly, I paused and asked, "What am I truly feeling?" This question led to moments of insight and even helped me develop healthier ways of coping, such as journaling or taking a short walk. Mindful eating is a small act, but its effects reach far beyond the table. It fosters a deeper connection with oneself, aligning with the Stoic pursuit of self-mastery and intentional living. Through each mindful meal, I learned to approach food with gratitude, seeing it not only as fuel, but as an experience to be appreciated. If you're curious about this practice, try beginning with just one meal each day. Sit down, remove distractions, and take a few breaths. Allow yourself to savor each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and even the feelings that arise. You might be surprised at the peace and awareness this simple habit can bring. Practicing mindful eating opened my eyes to the power of small, intentional actions. This same awareness carried over into another habit that brought mental clarity and emotional balance: daily exercise. 4. Daily exercise, strengthening the body and the mind. What would it mean to care for our bodies as carefully as we do our minds? Could movement become more than a routine, perhaps even a form of self-discipline, resilience, and clarity? Exercise is often seen as a task, something to check off the list, but as I embarked on the habit of daily movement, I found that it became so much more. In the philosophy of Stoicism, care for the body is considered essential to overall well-being. Physical discipline is intertwined with mental discipline, and caring for the body means equipping the mind with clarity and resilience. At first, I struggled. I was far from being an athlete, and the idea of exercising every day felt daunting, but I committed to just 20 minutes, allowing myself to start small. Some days I did yoga, other days I went for a jog or engaged in simple strength exercises. I didn't set out to push myself to extremes, but rather to find joy and consistency in movement, knowing that even this small act of care could bring significant change. The first few days were challenging. My muscles felt sore, and I questioned my commitment. But Stoicism teaches us that growth comes through endurance and dedication, not instant gratification. So I embraced the discomfort, viewing it as a necessary step toward strengthening both body and mind. By the fourth day, I noticed a shift. My body started to feel more alive, my energy levels increased, and my mood improved. Exercise became my time to disconnect from the world, a daily ritual to focus solely on myself. This wasn't about burning calories or achieving a specific look. It was about strengthening my resolve, building resilience, and honoring my body's natural need for movement. How many of us see exercise as a chore rather than a gift we give to ourselves? One morning stands out vividly in my memory. I laced up my sneakers and set out for a jog under a clear sky. The air was crisp, and as I ran, I felt a sense of freedom and clarity that I hadn't experienced in a long time. It was just me, the open road, and my thoughts. This wasn't merely a physical exercise, it was a chance to connect with myself, to let go of distractions and focus on each breath, each step. This clarity, I realized, was a form of mental freedom, a release from the clutter that often fills our minds. In that moment, I understood that exercise could be a practice in mindfulness, a way to return to myself, fully present and grounded. This is what Stoicism often emphasizes: the importance of grounding ourselves, finding strength in simplicity, and cultivating resilience. Movement became a reminder that I am strong, capable, and present. As the week continued, I noticed other benefits. My posture improved, I felt stronger, and I even found myself becoming more positive. This physical strength also translated into mental strength. Challenges that would usually frustrate me seemed more manageable. In Stoicism, there's a belief that the mind and body are deeply connected, and taking care of one inevitably supports the other. This daily practice of exercise wasn't just about fitness. It was about building a foundation of resilience that extended into every area of my life. Yoga became another significant part of this journey. Initially, I hesitated, thinking I wasn't flexible or calm enough. But yoga taught me patience, acceptance, and the importance of breath, skills that aligned perfectly with Stoic teachings. It showed me that movement doesn't need to be intense to be effective. It can be gentle and still transformative. Through yoga, I learned to respect my limitations and celebrate small progressions, embodying Stoicism's principle of steady, intentional growth. Exercise, when approached with mindfulness, becomes more than a task. It becomes a celebration of the body's capabilities, a way to express gratitude for the strength and mobility we often take for granted. If you're struggling to incorporate movement into your life, start with something small, anything that brings you joy, whether it's dancing, hiking, or simply taking a walk. Embrace it as a form of self-care, a gift you're giving yourself each day. Building physical and mental resilience through exercise prepared me for the next transformative habit, journaling. Where exercise strengthened my body, journaling became a way to strengthen my mind, helping me to understand, process, and grow from each day's experiences. 5. Journaling, a dialogue with the self. What if, instead of letting thoughts drift in the mind, we gave them a home on paper? Could writing become a way to understand ourselves more deeply, to see our patterns, strengths, and areas for growth? Journaling has often been regarded as a practice for writers or those with ample time to reflect. But as I dedicated a few minutes each night to this habit, I realized it was one of the most powerful tools for self-awareness and personal growth. In Stoicism, self-reflection is essential. It is through honest examination that we become aware of our virtues and vices, of the places where we need to grow. With journaling, I found a way to conduct this examination daily, creating a dialogue with myself that brought greater clarity and peace. At first, I kept it simple. 10 minutes before bed, a notebook and a pen. No filters, no attempt to write perfectly. Just my thoughts, raw and unfiltered, meeting the page. The first few entries were surface level, details of the day, minor frustrations, things that brought me joy. But soon the writing deepened. I began to explore my fears, my dreams, and even my insecurities. Each entry felt like a conversation with myself, a place where I could be honest without judgment. How often do we hold back our true thoughts, even from ourselves? In journaling, I could release them fully, allowing myself to see them clearly. One night, I wrote about a stressful day at work. As I described the events, I found myself breaking down my emotions, identifying what had triggered my stress and how I might respond differently next time. This act of putting thoughts into words helped me process my emotions rather than carry them into the next day. It was a practical application of Stoic wisdom. Instead of being swept away by emotions, I could observe them, understand them, and let them pass. Journaling also allowed me to record small victories and milestones that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. In the midst of our busy lives, we often overlook these moments of growth. But by documenting them, I could look back and see the progress I was making, however gradual. This practice reminded me that growth isn't always dramatic. It's often subtle, steady, and shaped by daily effort. And in line with Stoic philosophy, I began to value progress over perfection, focusing on what I could do each day to move closer to my goals. I also began a gratitude section in my journal. Each night, I listed 3 things I was thankful for, shifting my focus from what was lacking to what was already abundant in my life. This small act cultivated a sense of peace and appreciation, reminding me to approach each day with a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. Through journaling, I discovered patterns in my thoughts and behaviors. For example, I noticed that certain worries resurfaced frequently, many of them tied to things beyond my control. In these moments, I would turn to Stoic principles, reminding myself of the wisdom in focusing on what I can change and letting go of what I cannot. By seeing these patterns on paper, I could confront them more effectively, breaking free from the cycle of overthinking and refocusing on what truly mattered. One particular entry stands out. A stranger had helped me carry groceries on a difficult day. Writing about this simple act of kindness brought me a sense of warmth and gratitude, and it also inspired me to pay it forward. How often do we miss these opportunities to reflect on the kindness around us? Journaling helped me recognize the goodness in my life, encouraging me to be mindful of it in both small and significant ways. Journaling became a safe space where I could lay down my thoughts, both light and heavy. It was a space of self-acceptance, where I could confront my weaknesses without fear or shame. By making this a daily habit, I gave myself the gift of consistent reflection, a gift that helped me grow day by day toward greater clarity, resilience, and purpose. If you're considering trying journaling, I encourage you to start small. Don't worry about grammar or structure. Just write whatever comes to mind. Let your thoughts flow freely and see what insights emerge. This habit, though simple, has the power to bring profound clarity to your life, helping you navigate challenges with wisdom and grace. Each of these 5 habits, limiting screen time, waking up early, mindful eating, daily exercise and journaling, became a pathway to greater awareness and self-mastery. They taught me to live with intention, to embrace each day as an opportunity for growth, and to practice gratitude for the small everyday moments. In Stoicism, The focus is not on perfection, but on progress, on moving steadily toward a more virtuous life. These habits embody that philosophy, offering practical steps that bring us closer to clarity, peace, and resilience. If even one of these habits resonates with you, I encourage you to give it a try. Perhaps begin with just one and see how it feels. Remember, it's not about doing everything at once. It's about making small, mindful changes that accumulate over time. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you found these insights helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing your own experiences in the comments below. Let's build a community of growth and encouragement, where each step forward is celebrated. Together, we can keep evolving, embracing the wisdom of Stoicism and transforming our routines into powerful moments of self-improvement. Stay mindful, stay resilient, and remember, small changes lead to big results. See you in the next video.